Welcome back to Code Hive, the place where we make it work, make it right, and make it fast. So I'm so excited to be recording a video. It's been a long time since I recorded a video, and apologies for that. I've just been so busy and couldn't get the time basically. But today I found time to, just record a few videos, upload for you guys, and continue from where we left off. So in the previous videos, we started looking into Django and we created two models. So we created an author model as well as a book model, and we registered our models in the admin portal. Basically that's what we did. We created our first application as well as our first project. I explained to you guys the difference between the two. So in this video, I am going to talk about serializers and serialization, right? So basically, what are serializers? Okay, so basically serializers in Django help change data from one form to another. So for example, the first example there, turning a Django model like a database entry into a simple Python object like a dictionary or a list, so it can be sent as JSON to a user or a web page. So maybe you guys not really understanding what this means, but trust me, as we look into examples and continue with it, it will make sense. So the second example is turning data like JSON from a user into a Django model so it can be saved to a database. So basically, this is helpful when you want to share data from your database in a format that can be easily understood and used by apps or websites, right? And also when you need to take data from the app or website to save it to your database, right? So basically that's what a serializer is used for. We will be looking at an example right now, so let's get to it. So I'm just going to open up our project. So basically I'm going to show you guys a model serializer example, right? So the first thing that you guys need to do is under your app, right? So we have our first application over here. We see we have views, URLs, we literally looked at all of these, right? So what we want to do is we want to create a serializer.py file. So we're going to right click on our app, say new file, and we are going to call it serializers.py. Okay, so now we are inside our serializers file. So the first thing that we want to do is we want to say from REST framework, okay, we want to import serializers. Okay, so that's the first thing we want to do. So we did look at how to install REST framework in the previous videos. So if you still have not looked at those videos, then please do so. So what we're doing right now is we are just importing serializers from the REST framework so that we are able to use it. Okay, so now looking at the models that we have, right? We have an author model as well as a book model. So I want us to create two serializers, okay? One for the author model and one for the book model. So the first one that I want us to look at is the author model. So we are going to say class, right? Then we're going to call our serializer whatever we want to call it, but it would be I would advise you guys to name it whatever your model is. So in this case, we're starting with the author, right, model. So I'm going to name it author serializer. That way it's easy to just remember what you called your serializer and all that. I mean, it's the same logic as creating variables, right? Okay, so we're going to create a bracket. In our bracket, we're going to say serializers that we imported dot model serializer. So that's the one that I want us to look at. So basically this model serializer provides implementations for create method, update method based on the model. Okay, so that's what basically that is. And then, like Python, you're just going to do your semicolon over there, and then we're going to create another class. We're just going to call it meta. So basically this class, right, is a class that defines the model to be serialized and the fields to include or exclude. Okay, so we're just going to say class meta, and again, Python wise, we're going to do the semicolon, and we're going to specify the model that we want to use. So the model that we want to use is the author model. So we can see that it's giving us the squiggly line because what we still need, it doesn't know where that model is, it doesn't know what it is, or any of that. So if you just hover over it and you say quick fix, then it should be able to say add from backend.firstapp models import author, and you're just going to do that, and it's just going to create that import statement so that it's able to recognize the author model that we are using from our models file. Okay. Then the next thing that we need to specify is the fields that we want to use. So in this case, I'm just going to say this. I'll show you now. Okay, so by doing this, you are saying that you want to make use of all the fields in the author model. So in the next one, when we create the book serializer, I'll show you guys how to specify the different fields that you want to use so that you're able to exclude certain fields. But in this case, our models just has the name and bio, so I just want to make use of both of them. Okay, so I'm just going to say all. So the next serializer that we want to create is the book serializer. Okay, so same concept. So class, I'm going to call it book serializer, right? And we're going to do the same serializers dot model serializer, and then we're going to do our class meta, and we're going to say model is equals to, now I want to use the book model. Okay, and then the book model. Okay, so now we can easily just go to our import statement on line 2 and just put a comma and just include book over there. Okay, so now you see that it's all the squiggly line is gone. Okay, so now the fields that I want to make use of, right? So now if you want to specify certain fields, you're going to put a square bracket, and then you're going to put the inverted comma. So the first one that I want to include is the ID. Okay, so obviously, like I explained in the previous video, we're not going to see ID over there, but if we come to our database file, we can see ID in the book because Django automatically creates that ID field for us. Okay, so if we go back to our serializer, so I want to make use of the ID, let's just say summary as well as the title. Okay, so this is just how you would do it, right? So title and summary. I think it was summary. Let me just quickly check. Summary, yes. So these are the only fields that I want to include in the book serializer. So all the other fields that are not listed over here, every time when I call the serializer, it is not going to be included. It's not in the fields that we just mentioned right now. Oh my gosh. Okay, so basically that's how you create serializers. So there's ways in which you can create methods in your serializers. I will show you guys that as well, but for now I just want to show you guys this basic adding or creating of a serializer. So we created an author serializer that includes all the fields, as well as a book serializer that includes some of the fields from the book table. Okay, so if we just save that, then basically that's it. That's our serializer. Okay, so there's nothing else that we can add on there for now. So basically, like I said, the model serializer is just a shortcut that helps create serializers based on existing models. Okay, so it automatically handles field mapping and simplifies the code. Okay, so basically that's it. That's really how you create a serializer. Okay, so now that we created our serializers, there's something that I want to show you guys. So you have noticed in the previous video when we created our models, you can see that when we came to look at the names of the tables, we can see that it says first app author, first app book. So what Django does is it takes our app name and it takes our model name and then it just pins it together to create the name of the table, of the model. So what happens if you want to change it? What if you don't want that first app to appear? So that's what I'm going to show you guys. So if we go back to our models.py, so I'm going to start with the author. So I'm going to say class meta, and I'm going to say db table, then we're going to call it author. Okay, so that's just it. So we're going to say class meta inside the class that you want to rename, right? And we're just going to rename the table to author. So if I come to our book as well, I'm just going to change that to book, and I'm going to save it. So now if we come back and we refresh, it's still the same. Why? Because we still need to apply migrations. So if I go to terminal, open up a new terminal, I'm going to cd into our back end, and I'm going to go ahead and say vend scripts activate. So I first want to activate our virtual environment, and then I can go ahead and say python manage.py make migrations. Okay, and it should say rename table for author to author, rename table for book to book. So now the migrations are showing, so now we need to apply those migrations. So we're going to say python manage.py migrate to apply the migrations. So if we go back and we refresh, we can see that our tables have changed. So the one is author and the other one is book. So I mean, personally, I feel like that looks way better than first app author, first app book, right? And I can pretty sure say that you guys can agree with me. So basically that's it. I've shown you guys how to rename your tables into a nice naming convention. I've showed you guys how to create a serializer. I've explained to you guys what a serializer is and how to specify all the fields that you want to include inside your serializer. So basically in the next video, we are going to be looking at views. We're going to be looking at HTTP response, and yeah, so basically we're going to look at that, and that will also explain how to use the serializers in our views. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope this video was helpful. Please don't forget to hit the like button. Please don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell for more videos like this. Thank you guys so much for watching.